Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your old pal CHH here. I just got out of the theater for one of my most anticipated films of my life. That is Renfield. This is the new Nicolas Cage Dracula movie. And did it meet my expectations? Quite frankly, if I'm being honest, it exceeded all of them. I do not like being Mr. 5 stars, but I can't think of a single thing I want to complain about with this movie. For the people that know me, and of course, I want to say this is a completely spoiler-free review. This is not a movie I need to talk about the ending or really what happens too in-depth with the plot. I'll give you a little bit of it, but this is not something I need to, so you're safe to watch this. Going into this movie, I was super excited. Obviously, I am not only a Nick Cage fan for life, I grew up watching all his movies, CONARY, Face Off, National Treasure, all that stuff, but when he got into this horror resurgence thing, I was just so over the moon with the direction of his career, and despite the fact that, a lot of people saying, oh, he's doing these films just simply for money to pay this off, or these tax problems, or whatever he had, I don't think anybody could watch these films he's been doing and say he's phoning it in. And even Nicolas Cage has gone on record, says, I never phone in anything I do with my movies. And I think it's clear with the resurgence he's had with movies like Mandy and Pig, which I think is probably one of the best performances he's done in his entire career. He's on a roll and he's killing it, and I'm here for all of it. So when it comes to Renfield, I was super excited when the trailer dropped to see that this was really some sort of a horror / action / comedy, because horror comedy is my favorite subgenre in the world. It's hard to pull off, but when it's pulled off well, I don't think that there's a better subgenre in the horror game. And I'm here to say that I think Renfield absolutely nails it. Good things I'll say about Renfield is this. In a world right now where we've got all these exceedingly long movies, Renfield gets you in and out in less than an hour and a half tops. And that's including credits and all that. And that's something that I want to give 2 thumbs up for. It doesn't need to meander too long in anything. It gets you in. It gets the story rolling. The action goes off right from the first scene, and you're in it to win it. And that is a big plus. This movie trims any bit of fat that it might have potentially had. So the story, I like it. It's a take on the original Dracula story. Renfield and Dracula have now been alive for a long time. Renfield is presumably an undead person, and Dracula, of course, is Dracula. And they're trying to survive in the big cities now in America, and Dracula is sending Renfield out to get victims. But the thing is, Renfield is bringing him less than innocent or good people. He's bringing them bums or criminals, and Dracula can't really sustain or really improve his well-being with these kinds of people. So now Renfield is tasked to go out and get innocent people, a herd of cheerleaders. He needs good blood. This movie is colorful in all the right ways, and I gotta say, if this gets a 4K, it's going to be amazing. Take a movie like Rob Zombie's The Munsters that came out with all those colors and dial it down about 50% to make it way more palatable and not overtake the scene, but elevate the scene and the look of the scenes. That's what Renfield did. The production, set design, whatever you want to call it, was stellar. There was reds and blues and greens, and they just made the moodiness of the scenes brought up to another level and did it so well. I mean, I pray to God this gets a 4K because it's going to look fantastic. And one of the things that really threw me for a loop, guys, I was not expecting some of the great makeup designs that Nicolas Cage was going to have. Obviously, if you know the story of what Dracula is like, the less he gets the blood of innocent people and things like that, the worse he looks. And I'll keep it that point. I won't go into too much detail about what he looks like to keep it spoiler-free, but I was like, oh my God, this looks like some Tom Savini work. This is fantastic. So I was eating that up, and that looked so good. The cast was stupendous. The gentleman who plays Renfield, I think his name is Nicolas Hoult, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, was fantastic. He was equal parts sensitive. He was energetic. He had the right sensibility for the character of Renfield in this type of movie. Perfect casting. I think the casting of this movie was so good. And all the supporting cast just elevated him and elevated Nick Cage's Dracula to seem that much more big and menacing, and yeah, just killer. There's a crime element to this movie that I'm a big fan of crime dramas and things like that. And so when you intertwine stuff like that, a lot of the giallo stuff is all about crime and things like that. I love those kinds of elements. So bringing that into the mix was another plus for me because I'm just into that type of movie and that type of that type of scene. So the added element of the crime group going against the cops where you've got Renfield and Dracula. Now getting in the mix between all of that was just it was just a perfect blend of all my favorite things in movies, quite frankly. Needless to say, Nicolas Cage is fantastic. You can tell he's not only a fan of the genre, but respects it. I got more Bela Lugosi vibes rather than a Christopher Lee vibe from Nick in this one. His performance was outstanding, and it felt a little bit more stagey, the way those old movies were, as opposed to that Hammer-style Christopher Lee Dracula. But he was exactly... He understands the nuance of the subgenre he's doing, which was horror/comedy with action mixed in, and it's fantastic. I don't want to just come out and say it's my favorite Dracula performance ever, because Lugosi, Christopher Lee are so iconic, but it's so respectful to those Draculas, and somewhere out there, Christopher Lee is fist-bumping Nick Cage right now, and so is Bella. I think Nick Cage just did an amazing job. His wardrobe was on point. The Dracula fingernails, the iconic stuff that you would want to see from Dracula is not only here, but done in, I thought, such a great and respectful way. And Nicolas Cage, he got it. He just got it, you know. I could not be more happier with his performance in this movie. The action is what also got me, and the blood. There was a lot of blood in here, and it was funny. There was some CGI blood, of course, but it never was intrusive to be like, oh, this is too much CGI. It was parts of fight scenes that were action-packed and fast-paced. It was funny in the way some of the gore was in a movie like From Dusk Till Dawn, for instance. And the action scenes were really energetic and fun, and they never meandered too long or lasted too long. The tightness of this movie is what made this really come together. Mixing these genres, but making it all sewn in and be in this threaded timeline that was not too long of a movie. I just really loved this movie, guys. So I'll keep it there. Like I said, this doesn't need to be a long review or a spoiler review. I'm not going to get into the ending. It's not necessary. I just thought all the mixed parts of this movie came together to make this perfect smoothie, and Nicolas Cage is an icon as Dracula. I mean, I would love to see a sequel to this, but quite frankly, we don't need it. This is going to live on. I think this is going to become a cult hit. Unfortunately, I don't see this blowing the box office away, but I say if you can, guys, go see this in the theater and enjoy all the beautiful colors and seeing Nicolas Cage. Not only is the Dracula that you expect him to look like, but aren't going to be ready to see him in the movie as well. So, I mean, it's really fun. This movie is the textbook definition of fun to me, and this is my favorite subgenre of horror, and I think that Renfield did it to a T. So I am over the moon with how much I enjoyed this film, and I can't wait to see it again. It's definitely a movie you can rewatch. And funny. I thought it was really funny, and it didn't try to be too funny, which is a hard thing, because if you try to press the comedy too much, it can get to be an annoyance, and this movie didn't do it. There were little things that probably weren't even supposed to be laugh parts of the movie, but makes me laugh, and maybe it's my sense of humor as well. But guys, I am giving this movie 2 extremely enthusiastic thumbs up. Renfield is going to be a movie I'm going to revisit a lot and talk about and recommend and push to people. It's awesome. Go see Nicolas Cage not only play Dracula, but be respectful to the legends that came before him. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you've seen Renfield, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I cannot recommend it enough. Hey, a huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.